I think the level of condemnation that has been thrown in his direction, I think it's a bit excessive. I understand the notion that you got a 7'2" center who's not the most mobile or agile dude in the world, and you're expecting and anticipating that a jump shot is what's going to kill you in game one of this Eastern Conference Finals. I get the thinking. I just respectfully disagree. And I respectfully disagree because I believe that Roy Hibbert should have been in the game no matter what. He's just too big. He's too much of a deterrent to the Miami Heat, particularly in the post, to not have him in the game. If you want to indict Frank Vogel about anything, Skip, what it comes down to is that there's 2.2 seconds on the clock. How dare you assume that a jump shot was the only option? You should have known better. You're a coach for the #1 basketball league in the world. You have to understand you're supposed to be qualified to know this, to know that with 2.2 seconds left on the shot clock, somebody might have the time to get to the hole quick enough to close the deal on you. Clearly, Frank Vogel was anticipating that a jump shot was going to deliver the goods, which is why he pulled Roy Hibbert out of the game, because he's saying, well, I'm going to have him away from the basket anyway because they're going to use Bosh to pull him away from the basket, so why bother? I need quickness on the perimeter out there, as opposed to anticipating that, a layup may have ended up killing you. And he anticipated wrongly and foolhardily, and it cost him a game one in the Eastern Conference Finals and possibly the Eastern Conference period.
It just might have. Stephen A., I'll be a little tougher on Frank Vogel. You have to have Roy Hibbert in the game on each of the last two plays, the one with 11 seconds, the one with 2.2 seconds left. Because the Miami Heat have LeBron James and you don't, because the Heat have the greatest basket attacker in the world, the human freight train that is LeBron James, you have to keep Roy Hibbert in the game and with at least 1 foot in the lane. Now, maybe I can give him a slight pass on the first one with 11 seconds left. Maybe you say Bosh could hurt you there. But, Stephen A., you know and I know, 2.2 seconds left. What are the odds that LeBron is going to be able to find a Chris Bosh camped 18 or 20 feet away from the basket, trying to pull somebody out of the lane, find him, and that Chris can get off a shot that's not rushed to win the game? I don't think it's possible. I think that's a strategic blunder on the part of the head coach, who was pretty cocky before this all started, said they're just another team that's in our way, and did say, we heard him say during one of the timeouts to his team, I told you guys at film the other day, in the film session, we're going to win this game. So I got to put it on the coach for not being able to win the game. And I also want to bring up one other point, Stephen A., and get your thoughts on this. Roy Hibbert, in the live interview after the game that I saw on TNT, suggested that he got pulled in part on performance as well as strategy, because he did mention that Birdman early in overtime had gone up over him for a key offensive rebound, and that Chris Bosh with 50 seconds left really went up over and threw him for an offensive rebound and a putback and an and one that tied the game. So Hibbert was suggesting, he said, I got to be tougher late in games, have more toughness late in games. Do you think it's at all possible he just got yanked on performance?
Well, it's possible because Frank Vogel clearly wasn't pleased with those two plays. There's no doubt about that. You could see how demonstrative he was on the sidelines when it had actually transpired. And Roy Hibbert obviously knew he could have done a better job. There's no doubt about that. But you don't have time to think about that. In those kind of situations, you know, even though you try to lean on how guys are performing, at the same time, you lean on your best situations. You know, what's going to propel you to victory in a particular situation. And I can't believe that a 7'2" dude that's played solidly throughout these playoffs because of a couple of bad plays late in the game, that the coach is going to turn around and say, well, I'm going to punish you by putting you on the bench in the most pivotal situation imaginable. If there's an indictable offense against Frank Vogel, it would be the fact that he pulled Roy Hibbert twice, not just once.
That's correct.
The fact that LeBron James scored on 2 layups as opposed to 1 is where he's in trouble in terms of the shrapnel of criticism that's going to come in his direction. If it had happened one time, it would be different. But the fact that it happened twice is why everybody's looking at Frank Vogel right now and saying, what in God's name were you thinking about?
Right.